Coming up on UCF Nightly News, find out more about the new UCF COVID-19 testing site.
We'll learn more about the new CDC guidelines for those who are fully vaccinated.
And we'll get to know about a UCF student who lives her dream during the pandemic.
Nightly News starts now.
And welcome to Nightly News. I'm John Whitley.
And I'm Jarrett Kappelman. Today is Friday, March 12th, 2021.
UCF is now offering free COVID-19 rapid testing. The testing is being administered by Student Health Services outside of the health center. The testing started last Monday and will continue Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. through 4 p.m. The rapid test will be free to all UCF students, staff, and faculty. Former UCF student Trinity Elmore says the vaccination site is very convenient.
When I had COVID-19 in the past, it was very hard for me to get vaccinated. I had to schedule an appointment and wait several days to get tested, even more for my results. Having this new testing site would have made it so much easier.
To be administered while supplies last.
Nightly News reporter Julia Silva is at the testing site on campus right now. Julia, how are things looking out there?
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the testing site right now, located outside of the health center on campus. Health officials told me that there won't be any testing today because of the vaccinations happening in the student union. I stopped by yesterday as well, and there was no line and no wait. UCF officials say they urge students experiencing symptoms to get tested. Live from the testing site, Julia Silva, UCF Nightly News.
Thanks, Julia. And Nightly News will keep you updated on the rapid testing site.
UCF will provide another round of COVID-19 vaccines for employees. The Florida Department of Health will provide UCF with enough doses of the Pfizer vaccine to give more than 2,000 employees. UCF opened their first vaccination site yesterday. The site, only open to employees, will stay open until early next week. UCF employees of all ages are eligible to receive the vaccine. This will be the university's second series of COVID-19 vaccinations offered on campus where only students and employees over the age of 65 were eligible.
The CDC released guidelines for those who are fully vaccinated. 2 weeks after receiving both doses, a person becomes fully vaccinated. CDC reports people who receive both doses can visit other fully vaccinated people indoors without mask or social distancing. They may visit with unvaccinated people who are at a low risk for the virus, but only from a single household. Guidelines say they are not required to quarantine even after exposure unless they show symptoms. UCF student Jessica Thurber says she received the first dose of her vaccine, and even after the second dose, she says she will still be a little scared of getting sick.
It's just so hard. Like, it's such a mental shift that, like, I still feel like I'll still feel nervous about, going out and going to crowded places, even though I am fully vaccinated, just because, nothing's certain.
The CDC still recommends fully vaccinated people wear masks in public and avoid crowds. They suggest people get tested if experiencing any symptoms, even after vaccination.
President Biden signs a historic $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief law. Reporter Julia Silva tells us more about what is included in this law and how it will affect people in Central Florida and the economy.
On Thursday, President Joe Biden signed his $1.9 trillion economic relief package into law. The bill will provide individuals making less than $75,000 a year with $1,400. It will also extend $300 to unemployment benefit. Sean Snaith, UCF's Director of Economic Forecasting, says while this law will provide help for those affected by the pandemic, he worries about the toll it may have on future generations.
There are limits, to how much a country can borrow before the possibility of a debt crisis increasingly becomes, part of the picture.
The law will also give $130 billion to reopen schools and $160 billion for COVID-19 vaccinations and testing. UCF political science major Lucas Alexander says that the bill does not only focus on COVID-19 problems, much like former President Trump's COVID relief bill.
The same thing happened last year when Trump wanted to pass a bill and Pelosi and the Democrats denied it. He wanted a bill, but the bill didn't have it didn't aim only at COVID issues.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says people can expect to see direct deposits hit their bank accounts as early as this weekend. In Orlando, Julia Silva, UCF Nightly News.
On the White House website, there's information about how the American Rescue Plan can help the people.
A UCF student is living her dream after creating a business during the pandemic. The business offers many different types of cookies. Nightly News reporter Cliff Tumatel spoke with Carolina Guzman to find out how she's sweetening up her life.
Carolina Guzman is a junior at UCF majoring in communication sciences and disorders. But right now, she's doing something that she wanted to do since she was a child, and that's being a baker. Her business, Cookie Fruki, has many different types of cookies that she made from scratch. She was inspired by others doing this type of work during COVID.
Would order these cookies from this girl from New York. And he was like, Gato, you could easily do this. You could easily do this. And I was like, okay. I took it as a challenge. And so I started making all different types of cookies.
She says it's tough doing this throughout the semester, but for her, living the dream is worth it.
Once she gets an order through her form, she makes it from scratch at her house. And after that, she puts them in these boxes for either pickup or delivery. But of course, she's not alone. In fact, she's got plenty of help.
Gabriele Mastroielli and Alex Fonseca are Guzman's roommates, and they always assist Guzman whenever she needs it. Mastroielli says she's inspired by her friend doing something she loves.
This is going to sound very cliche, but it makes me lucky that she's my friend because she's always pushing the people around her to be better.
Fonseca says she wasn't surprised to see her doing something more.
I mean, she's always been so creative. She has her t-shirt business and she also has the cookies. She's always doing something.
Guzman says in the future, once everything is all said and done, she hopes to create her very own bakery shop. In Orlando, Cliff Tumatel, UCF Nightly News.
Guzman says she will continue to make her cookies as long as everyone is enjoying them.
A new master's program will be available to UCF students starting next fall. The new master's degree in computer vision will give students an opportunity to learn how to make computers complete tasks faster and more accurately than a human. UCF is the only university in the state and one of only 2 nationally to offer a computer vision master's degree program. Director of the program, Dr. Niels Lobo, says the program is a part of a growing industry and will provide students with more job experience.
So that field has been growing in the last 10 years or so due to various technological breakthroughs nationally and internationally. So the field has been growing, and that field has been picked up by industry in a very, very strong way.
In computer science engineering or mathematics will not be required as a prerequisite for the program, but UCF professors say they recommend it.
Sean, it was a bit warm this morning, but how's the weather looking outside right now?
Yeah, Jared, it's looking good. We're in that sweet spot between spring and summer. So right now you see it's currently 79 degrees. Really nice day to go outside, but like usual, the humidity, 42%. We live in Florida, guys, so it's always going to be humid, especially in this time of the year. The winds, 8 miles per hour east. It's been really windy the past couple days, but it's starting to die down a little bit now. And the chance of rain, only 10%. So it's going to be a really nice day to go outside and do something because it's probably not going to rain. All right, back to Jarrett and John.
Coming up, see how UCF is planning an in-person graduation this spring.
Plus, we'll tell you how the new Universal Studios theme park construction can impact the economy here in Orlando.
The Biden administration is giving Venezuelans the chance for a temporary protected status here in the United States. Earlier this week, President Biden's administration announced that Venezuelans living in the country as of March 8th will now have the opportunity to apply for a TPS. This means that Venezuelans will be able to legally live and work in the country for 18 months. Venezuelan international students with an F1 visa can also apply at no risk. Carlos Javara, computer science major at UCF, is one of those students. Javara applied to a temporary protected status while being in optional practical training and says he is grateful for this measure.
Because my dream is to stay here in this country. My dream is like be free. Because I feel like when you are under a visa, you are not free in this country. And this is the country of freedom, right?
UCF Global is hosting a virtual informative session on Monday to answer any questions students may have. More than 300,000 Venezuelans will benefit from this measure and have until September 5th to apply.
UCF just announced that students graduating this semester will have an in-person graduation. Now, news reporter Sean Green tells us what different options students have to choose from when walking across the stage.
UCF is returning to in-person commencement at Addition Financial Arena after having to do the ceremony online the past couple of semesters. The university is offering two options that students can choose from. The first is a traditional in-person commencement taking place from May 5th to the 9th with limited capacity. Students will be allowed 2 guests at the event. UCF senior and health science major Colby Keating says his mom is a UCF alumni and a traditional commencement is the experience he wants to share with her.
I'm only the second person in my family to go to college. So I really wanted that, that experience of, walking across the stage and, turning the tassel and hearing the guest speakers. It's a moment that, you wait for years.
Though many students are excited to throw their cap at a traditional ceremony, many students are choosing the grad walk option offered by the university. Grad walk is different than the traditional ceremony, as this option has no other students or guests in the arena. This option allows students to bring up to 5 guests to hear their name called and walk across the stage at a specific time slot. UCF Legal Studies senior Justin Rappaport says this option will allow him to bring more loved ones to see him walk.
I just don't think it's feasible that I spent 4 years like grinding and spending all this time like working my tail off to just have 2 of my family members there. I'd rather do the in-person, not as traditional ceremony, or the grad walk, not as traditional ceremony, but at least I get my 5 family members there with me.
Regardless of what each student chooses, pretty special moments after a year of so much uncertainty. In Orlando, Sean Green, UCF Nightly News.
The deadline for seniors to RSVP for commencement is March 19th.
Universal Orlando officials announced that its new theme park is resuming construction after being delayed last year due to the pandemic. This results in the park's opening date being pushed back. Nightly News reporter Robert Husby tells us what it means for the Orlando economy.
The 750-acre Epic Universe is Universal's 4th theme park in Orlando. The pandemic delayed construction and caused a drop in attendance last year. UCF theme park and attraction professor Dr. Carissa Baker says the demand should be there for tourism.
I don't think it's going to happen this year, but down the road, I think we're really going to get to those pre-pandemic numbers again because people just love this form of entertainment.
Universal also announced the return of Halloween Horror Nights this year after canceling it last fall. The 30th anniversary of the event this year will start September 3rd. The event employed over 2,000 people in 2019 and saw a 3.5% increase in theme park revenue in 2018. Universal is hoping this project translates to dollars as the company promises to create more jobs in Central Florida. According to the Themed Entertainment Association, Universal Park saw 51 million guests in 2019. Company officials say more than 14,000 permanent jobs and billions of dollars for Florida's economy will result. The new Themed Experience Masters program at UCF will coincide when it starts this fall. Program coordinator Peter Weishar says it makes sense for Orlando to have a program like this offered.
Orlando, a much larger segment of our economy, is dependent upon themed entertainment. It is the most logical place to have a program like this.
Epic Universe is set to open in early 2025. In Orlando, Robert Husby, UCF Nightly News.
Universal says the park will have multiple themed lands. The company says they will offer free transportation for guests to travel between the old campuses and the new campuses. When we come back, we will take a look at the weather forecast for the upcoming weekend.
Plus, find out how UCF mourns the loss of a beloved theater professor. Curious, come on. Last week, we informed you on the death of UCF theater professor Mark Brotherton. Now, Theater UCF is preserving the legacy he left behind. Here's a look at how Brotherton impacted Theater UCF. Brotherton spent over 25 years here at UCF, coaching, producing, acting, and directing in over 90 productions. However, his legacy goes beyond the stage. Last week, theater professor Mark Brotherton passed away from complications with cancer at the age of 61. On Monday night, the UCF School of Performing Arts hosted a virtual memorial service allowing students, faculty, and friends to come together and share memories of Brotherton. UCF graduate Jasleen Williams says that Brotherton was a special mentor who cared deeply for his students.
He made sure he never worried about himself. He was always worried about the students, and he was always worried about the kids, as he would say, and making sure that they had fun and that they were always learning something.
Students were not the only ones touched by Brotherton's presence. Dr. Julia Lissengarden, a professor and Theater UCF artistic director, says Brotherton was always looking to help out anyone he could.
He would do anything for his colleagues. I asked him so many times to collaborate on projects, and I thought, well, maybe he would not have enough time, but he would always have time. He would find time. He would create time.
Lissengarden says that Theater UCF will keep his legacy alive.
His legacy will live on through his students, through his former students, and his colleagues.
Brotherton was scheduled to direct a production in the upcoming fall semester. Theater UCF is planning a tribute for Brotherton in the fall. Nightly News will update you on more information when it's provided.
Now, we'll take a look at what's trending on NSM Today. NSM Editor-in-Chief Emily Hernandez tells us more about what's happening on the web.
Thanks, guys. This week on NSM, find out who can take the COVID-19 vaccine at UCF. See why the UCF Department of Criminal Justice is pushing for racial justice through a virtual discussion series. And in sports, check out how Aaron Gordon is helping UCF STEM's summer program, as well as UCF men's and women's basketball as they take on the AAC tournaments. That's all I have for you this week. Check us out on the web at nsm.today.
Thanks, Emily. Check out nsm.today to stay up to date on all things UCF.
Sean, you told us about the weather outside right now, but I gotta know what's it looking like across the whole state.
It's looking good around the whole state, like you said, Jarrett. We got 80 in Tallahassee, we got 79 in Jacksonville, 84 in Tampa. They're pretty hot today. 80 in Orlando, so we're looking good today. And then Miami, 76, a little bit colder than the rest of the state. Lows, 56 in Jacksonville and Tallahassee. You got 58 in Tampa, 59 in Orlando, and obviously Miami's at 70. So, they're staying around that 70 mark. Let's go to the 5-day forecast now. Obviously, it's looking about the same throughout the week. Gets a little bit hotter. 82 and 57 on Saturday. Sunday, 83 and 61. You got Monday, 85, 65, a little bit hotter. Tuesday, 86 and 65. And Wednesday, 86 and 66. One thing to note, pretty much that whole bottom week, you're getting 0% chance of rain. That's perfect time to plan some stuff. But towards you get that back end of the week, it looks like it's going to rain 20% on Wednesday and 40% chance on Thursday. So make your plans early on in the week. That's all I have for weather. Back to John and Jared.
Thanks, Sean, for that update. When we come back, UCF will have a full return to campus this fall. Find out what that means for home football games.
And find out how a former UCF basketball player lands a coaching job in Michigan.
Hey Knights fans, I'm Robert Husby and here's your UCF Sports Update. UCF has announced a full return to campus this fall for students. However, attendance for football games has yet to be decided. UCF Nightly News reporter John Litwidley tells us why fans are optimistic.
UCF Athletics said on Wednesday they have sold 86% of their season ticket book. UCF Athletics Senior AD of Strategic Communications, John Heisler, says it's too soon to know if the Bounce House will be able to operate at full capacity this fall. Heisler says with the recent events of the vaccine, they are remaining optimistic they will be able to return to full capacity in the Bounce House.
This is, is based on optimism with the vaccines that are out there and the hope that in the next, 4, 5, 6 months that enough progress will be made that, that not just UCF, but that, that a lot of people, everybody really in college football could presumably either go back to 100% or something close to that, and that the fans will have confidence in that.
The UCF Knights football team opens their season September 4th here at the Bounce House against Boise State. Many fans say they have already bought tickets and fully plan on attending the game. UCF alumni and second-year season ticket holder Dalton Lackey says he is keeping his season tickets whether he can attend the games or not because he is happy to donate to the program. Lackey says full capacity would be huge for the program if it can be done safely.
Capacity is huge because we're going to have a couple, big home games, try to get back on top of the conference. So if we can get the bounce house bouncing again, it makes a big difference.
Heisler does remind fans that last year's decision was not made until August 31st, so it may be some time before we know. In Orlando, John Whitley, UCF Nightly News.
The Knights' 2021 schedules feature 7 home games, including 3 non-conference matchups. Former UCF center and football player Jordan Johnson has found his way back to the field with his first coaching job. After playing through 2 undefeated seasons at UCF, Jordan Johnson is eager for more, leading him to a coaching career at Madonna University in Michigan. Johnson says the cold made him hesitant to accept the offer because he's never lived outside of Florida, but he says he continues to charge on and made the move. Johnson says he uses advice from his former O-line coaches as a mold for his coaching, and it takes time to become a head coach like the ones he's played for, but Johnson says he's embracing his humble beginnings.
This is Madonna University's first season ever. This is their first time having a football team. So I think they understand that we're going to have to build this thing from the ground up, literally, because they've never had a football team before.
It gives him a chance to learn the ins and outs of coaching. And that's all the time I have left for you this week. For more sports content, check out Hitting the Field Network on YouTube and social media. As always, go Knights, charge on. Back to you, John and Jarrett.
Thanks, Robert. Go Knights. That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our Twitter at UCF Nightly News.
And if you got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and charge on.